y'all, Dixie here. Today I want to talk to you about the things that I would do better and differently if I were to hike the Triple Crown trails again. I was thinking the other day, if I were to do the Triple Crown trails again, how I could do them better, faster, lighter, and more safely, and taking care of my body better, and just several things that I would change. And I thought, well, why don't I share that with people who might still be doing the Triple Crown trails or section hiking or backpacking in general. So first things first, I would carry ultralight gear. To be fair, for the Pacific Crest Trail and Continental Divide Trail, I did have some ultralight gear. But when I did the Appalachian Trail, the gear that I had, I would consider still lightweight gear, but not ultralight. Now, it's not that I'm a gram weenie, but I do think that having a lighter pack is a good idea to take care of your body while backpacking, because I want to keep doing this until the day that I die, if possible. Like, you know, an old pruny death. So while yes, I was successful at the Appalachian Trail with heavier gear than what I have since carried, I think that it would have been better for my body to have the ultralight stuff for those 2,189.2 miles. I have a gear list of the gear that I would take if I was to redo the AT, so I'll make sure to link that in the video description for anybody who wants to see all of the different detailed gear that I would change out. Next, I would mount a GoPro to my pack way sooner than I ever did. I got a GoPro mount. It's got like a little Velcro strap that goes around my pack strap, one of the shoulder straps. And with that GoPro, I've just been able to capture stuff better in the moment rather than talking about it later. And if I'd had it on the Pacific Crest Trail to document the sketchy water crossings and mountain passes in first person, I think that would have been better than having somebody hold a phone, or, you know, certain times when I was alone, I didn't want to set up a tripod and have to walk back. So when I got bluff charged by the bear on the AT, not having to pull out a camera and make sure it's in focus and all that, if I just had to push a button to document that bear, I think it would have been something I would have captured. Like I said, just kind of capturing stuff as it happens in the moment without having to think about holding a camera is nice. Next, I would protect my skin better as I hike in a tank top and shorts and nothing shading my face. But we are in the green tunnel here in Alabama, to be fair. But I wish I had taken it more serious to protect my skin from all of the sun exposure, like wearing the proper clothing all of the time, like not shorts in the desert, and something to shade my face, a hat, sunglasses, and sunscreen, like actually reapply it. But after having a precancerous spot and then an actual skin cancer removed from my face at the youngish age of in my 30s, I just don't play with that anymore, and I wish I hadn't for decades. Also, I wish I had hydrated better. Now, this is something that I haven't done a horrible job at in the past necessarily, but I think I could do a better job of it. And I do think hydration is very important when you're walking miles and miles and miles. So I have in the past just gotten tired of drinking straight water, and I would go more distance than I should without drinking plenty of water. I would also focus on carrying good quality hydration packets. I have tried several hydration packets throughout the miles, but it's hard to find one that is like clean and doesn't have a bunch of junky additives. I used to use Element-T, and I thought that they were pretty clean, and they kind of advertised as if they were a clean product, you know, finally something out there. But apparently I've been living under a rock, and I missed some drama that happened a couple years ago where it was found that they had maltodextrin in their mixture, and it was kind of hidden under natural flavors. It wasn't just hidden in the ingredients, but the actual amount is allegedly at least 100 times more than they've publicly claimed. It was being marketed as something that you could ingest while being on a ketogenic diet and something that you could use while fasting. And apparently maltodextrin has a higher glycemic index than table sugar. So there were people who were having issues if they were on a strict keto diet, and some people where it affects their gut health. And so because it wasn't super transparent, there were people who were upset and disappointed and felt like it was kind of shady. Now, for the typical healthy person who isn't on a restrictive diet, a little bit of maltodextrin is probably not a big issue. So if you don't particularly care about maltodextrin, there is a small company that I've tried their drink mix and it's pretty good. It's called Hiker's Blend, and honestly I would try that over Element because it's cheaper, it tastes good, and you'd be supporting a small business that has hikers in mind. Right now, another alternative in my sights is Salt. It's S-A-L-T-T. They seem to be marketed as a clean hydration mix, and they say that they've got no sketchy additives, etc. They evidently use acacia gum instead of a binder and stabilizer, so hopefully that's okay. I recently ordered the mixed flavored packet, and I've only tried one, the red, white, and BAM, and it was absolutely delicious. I'm actually really looking forward to trying the other flavors. Following hydrating better, I would eat healthier. I've talked a lot in the past few years about how to eat healthier on trail, or how I've been eating healthier on trail, and what I mean by that is to start with cleaner foods. So I would eat cleaner and focus on more protein. When I say eat cleaner, I mean focus on foods that have an ingredients list that's not a mile long and I can actually pronounce the ingredients. Just not a bunch of additives and preservatives and stuff that doesn't have to be there. Basically whole foods as much as possible and minimally processed. And then for more proteins, I would focus on snacks like carnivore crisps or different alternatives, or maybe I would even make some of my own now that I have a freeze dryer. But you can even make jerky in a dehydrator or store-bought jerky, but just getting more protein in my body. Some of this would definitely require more planning ahead and mailing myself packages, which can be a pain, but I do think that, again, it's worth it for the longevity of treating your body well. And if you're not putting garbage in, then hopefully you're not getting garbage out. In the same vein, I would add some supplements. First, I would supplement creatine. Creatine can potentially help long distance hikers by accelerating muscle recovery, reducing post-hike soreness, which is always great, and really kind of helping you power through those inclines, because who likes uphills? It can also improve cellular hydration and help you maintain that mental focus when you're physically exhausted. I guess one of the things to note that can happen when you take creatine is you can gain a few pounds because your muscles are retaining water. But for thru hikers, for many thru hikers, that's not a problem, because a lot of them, especially the men, are losing so much muscle that they're kind of frantic about trying to retain their weight. I would also take Perfect Aminos. I took this while I was out on the Arizona trail. I take it in normal life, and I might even consider putting collagen powder in my coffee on trail like I do in normal life. You can get the little individual serving packets or put it in a Ziploc bag, but at that point it might be worth it to just carry some protein powder. But again, that focus on having more protein however I can. Next, I would replace my shoes every 400 to 500 miles or less. And this is specifically for trail runners. I really overdid it on my thru hike of the Appalachian Trail with my trail runners. As long as there weren't holes in them and my toes weren't hanging out and they were functional, I thought they were good to go. But the issue is the support in the shoe will eventually collapse. It wears out over time. It just makes sense. And so while the shoe may look like it's okay, it may not be serving your foot well anymore in the way of support. So I pushed my trail runners on the Appalachian Trail, one pair, like 700, 800 miles, something crazy, because like, why spend money if I didn't need to? But I ended up with terrible plantar fasciitis, and it's just not good for the rest of your body either when things aren't being supported properly, and it can just throw everything off. So don't learn that lesson the hard way like I did. Next, I would add blister wool and KT tape to my first aid kit. I just did a whole video where I talked about my updated first aid kit, and I mentioned these things. So I'll link to that video in the description if you want to hear about what all I have in my first aid kit. But The blister wool, I recently learned from Dr. Morgan Brosnahan, who I interviewed on my Off Trail with Dixie podcast. She said the blister wool is superior in her mind to tapes for blister control because tape eventually compromises the skin, whereas the blister wool does not, and it reduces friction, it does all the same things, and it can actually be dual purpose too. So if you need extra support in your arch, it can be used for that. Of course, that would be a temporary solution until you can get to town and get some different footwear. She also said KT tape is great to have, but of course it helps to know how to use it. So it's worth researching ahead of time some typical trail injuries and how KT tape could work well for you in those particular instances. She actually has an ebook available that mentions those specific things, so that might be worth checking out for you. Next, I would carry an Inreach. Just being able to communicate with family, let them know you're okay, being able to call for help if not you need it, but somebody else needs it. How helpless would that feel to see somebody who's in desperate need of care and can't get it? I didn't need to push an SOS button for my entire Triple Crown, but I went and did some trail in Idaho and suddenly I needed it, and I was super glad to have it. So with the technology existing, why not have it when it can literally save your life? I know folks are like, well, in the 70s, I didn't even have a cell phone and I'd made it. Well, some people didn't. So again, you don't need it until you do, and that's something that to me is worth its weight in gold. Next, I would focus on working out in between hikes. I used to just basically go from the couch to the trail and the trail to the couch, and I would just get out of shape in between my hikes. And yes, the trail will break you in, and you can start slow and build up and you will be fine. I've done it. A lot of people have. But I think it's a much better transition if you try to stay in shape. And for your longevity and health in general, working out, and especially lifting weights, is like one of the best things that you can do. Now, for specifically staying in shape for long distance hiking, I would focus on strengthening the tendons in my lower body specifically, and flexibility. And Knees Over Toes guy has a lot of different videos about that. He's got some programs that I would highly recommend thru hikers and backpackers check out, because when you get out on the trail and you start doing longer distances, your legs get strong really fast. Those muscles strengthen up, and you want to make sure that the whole system down there is bulletproof so you don't start seeing some injuries and issues where other things haven't caught up and they're being overused. Finally, I would focus on better gait based on the terrain that I'm on. I recently did a video about how I suck at walking. I really have done it wrong for a lot of years when you look at trying to take the best care of your body that you can. On the uphills, I always hunch over, horrible posture, lean forward at the waist, stare at the ground, and really you want to have a proud chest, good posture looking up. Now, you got to look ahead to make sure you're not tripping. You got to check your feet every now and then. I get that. But you want to maintain yourself upright and power yourself with your legs and bend at the ankles, not the waist. Take smaller steps and really focus, like I said, on powering yourself with your legs. On the downhills, take smaller steps. Focus on your center of gravity and keeping your feet up under that. And it's important to keep your knees slightly bent to help absorb that shock of going downhill. So anyway, those are the things that I would do to make my Triple Crown experience a better experience overall. Again, I was successful. I did it. I grinded through the hard times and here I am. But for longevity's sake, to continue doing this and feel as good as I can doing it until my olden days, then these are the things that I would change and the things that I am planning to do going forward. So anyway, what are some of the lessons that y'all have learned the hard way and some things that you would change going forward? I would love to hear about that in the comments below. But that is all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see y'all next time.